traders can use to track stock prices over time. The basic idea is that looking at how a stock's average price has changed over a specific number of days can show you if it has been trending higher, lower, or just moving sideways. You can also use moving averages to identify support and resistance levels. Two common moving average types are simple moving averages, SMAs, and exponential moving averages, EMAs. Each has its strengths and weaknesses. Which one you use for a given trade will depend on your strategy. A simple moving average is just what it sounds like, a straightforward calculation of a stock's average price, usually its closing price, over a set number of days. So, if you're looking at a 10-day moving average, you just add up the stock's last 10 closing prices and then divide that number by 10. And because this is a moving average, as each day passes, you add a new closing price as an old one drops off. As you might have noticed, SMA is a backward-looking indicator insofar as it gives equal weight to a 10-day old closing price as it does yesterday's closing price. As a result, a stock's SMA might not react as quickly to recent events. That's where exponential moving averages come in. EMAs attempt to correct for the lag time of an SMA by giving more weight to recent price moves than older ones. Unfortunately, because of the weighting, EMA is a more complex calculation, but most trading platforms do it automatically. So, how do you choose when to use an SMA or an EMA? That will depend on your strategy. For example, if your strategy is to buy a stock when the slope of its moving average starts to turn upward, potentially indicating a rising trend, or sell when the slope turns down, EMA might be a better choice because it favors more recent price moves and it can give you a quicker signal about a potential trend. One trade-off, though, is that traders who use EMAs to join trends are more prone to getting whipsawed. Whipsaws occur when a security starts moving in one direction but then quickly reverses and moves briefly in the opposite direction. For trend-following traders, whipsaws can sometimes lead to a series of losing trades. Traders who use SMAs tend to experience fewer whipsaws, though they might be slower when it comes to spotting trends. You can also use moving averages to identify support and resistance levels. Technically, you can use either SMAs or EMAs for that, but many traders prefer SMAs, which generally make it a more effective indicator, as conventions like this can help shape trends if enough traders follow them. Both SMAs and EMAs can be useful tools for traders who like to follow trends. Which type you choose often comes down to personal preference. Try experimenting with both types and see which best fits your personal trading style. To learn more about technical indicators and how to use them, watch the other videos in this series and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay. Bounced a trade idea off my firm. Same old lines. I mean, show me some technical indicators, proprietary research, something.
That's why I like Schwab. They help look out for your blind spots.
Come on, Johnny, you got this, buddy.
Speaking of blind spots.
It's time to trade up. Schwab helps you see the full picture with powerful intel and trading specialists who get it. Plus, get commission-free online stock, ETF, and options trades. Schwab, the better place for traders.
You know that tech stock we talked about? I picked up 500 shares.
You getting at a good price?
Oh, yeah.
Schwab saved you how much?
It's time to trade up to Schwab, where you get price improvement on 96% of orders and commission-free online trades.
I'll take care of this.
Are you getting complete price transparency? Expect more from your firm. Schwab, the better place for traders.
Live from Schwab Studios, this is Schwab Live Daily.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Schwab Live Daily. My name is Robert Kamek. I'm the Regional Investment Strategist for the Great Lakes region here at Schwab, and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague from the Pacific Northwest, Regional Investment Strategist Mark Eidem. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Robert. It is one of those beautiful sunny days here in the Seattle area today. Our best kept secret.
I'm glad to see it's nice there. It is beautiful here in Indianapolis on the Eastern time zone. So we represent the Eastern time zone. We have the Pacific time zone, and we're going to say hello to everybody in Hawaii because it's 5 o'clock in the morning out there. I'm glad you're tuning in. So, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, I bet you the weather in Hawaii is really nice today.
You're probably safe on that one. Aloha to our ohana from Hawaii.
Exactly. I've always wanted to be the weatherman on Maui. I've got it down to a T. Today is going to be 82 for the high. The low is going to be 62, and it's going to be sunny with a little bit of wind. And guess what?
Perfect.
We're going to repeat that for the next 365 days. It's easy. It's easy. So
it's not quite that bad. It's quite that good. But okay. All right, let's dive in.
Absolutely. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to make the most out of Schwab.com. And what this really is how to take advantage of everything that we have on our website, where to go to use some of the most popular tools and resources within the website, and just to make yourself more familiar, more efficient in everything that you want to do, because there's a tremendous amount out there. And a lot of it is geared towards making our lives easier. So let us slowly get started here. I'm going to start with a quick disclaimer. We'll look through the website. We'll probably stop and look at a few symbols, talk about a few stocks. None of these are recommendations from us or Schwab. It's really to be used as educational purposes only on how to do specific things. So remember that. And also remember the big disclaimer in the financial industry: past performance unfortunately never guarantees that future result. Mark, any other disclaimers you want to add to us here this morning?
Nothing comes to mind. You hit it pretty well.
No problem. As always, right below our screen here, you can type in questions for us. So if there's anything that's on top of mind that you want to make sure we touch on, please send us your questions. We're happy to try and address as many as possible here in our time today. So please add them on there. I do want to take one more slide here to talk a little bit about Schwab. I love this slide that we look through clients' eyes. And what that truly means is all of us here at Schwab, we put ourselves in the role as the client, because not only do we work for Schwab, we are also clients to Schwab. So we're constantly thinking, what would the client feel with this? How would the client react to this? And Chuck says, if you do what's right by the client, everything works out in the long run. I love that. I love that mentality around it. So let us get started with what is available out there on the Schwab website, what's available for all of us electronically to make our lives easier. The first place I am going to stop is actually not on the Schwab website. And if you notice up top, I'm actually going to show you a web page, schwab.com/go-digital. The reason we're bringing this up first is here is a site that everyone can access outside of Schwab that shows you a lot of the functionality that you can do for yourself digitally, electronically. So you can save yourself time by not having to call us, get humans involved. So there's lots of things that you can do. And I really like this website that we put together, as it shows a lot of the common things that our clients, that all of us do and how to do them electronically or digitally to help us save time, be more efficient, and eliminate mistakes. So on this site here, notice we put some of the most popular things going on. Okay, Mark, any of these jump out to you as to things that you, as a client, also, but you as an employee, or you talking to clients, anything that jumps out to you here that is most used by clients that you would want to make them aware of?
Well, I'd have to say it is unquestionably the mobile deposit. We no longer have to go to a branch, mail in a check. You literally can use the Schwab app on your phone, iPhone or Droid, take a picture of the check, deposit, boom, done.
Absolutely, especially with our branches being closed to the public right now. Hopefully they open up here in the short term. This is a great way to save yourself time. Notice we even give the button right there to download the app onto your Android or your Apple device. And then just as Mark described, you can take a picture of your check. The reason I wanted to scroll down, we're going to come back and see some of this. The reason I wanted to scroll down a little bit is here down on the bottom, we actually do give some how-to videos. And notice when you click on the hyperlink in the how-to videos, we will pull up some of the videos that we've put on there on how to do specific things, such as, hey, notice a travel notice, how to put a travel notice on your account, or more importantly, just like Mark referenced, how to actually make a mobile deposit on your phone. All you do is click the play button right there, and it'll be a video for you to walk you through how to make that mobile deposit. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back on our page here a little bit, and we'll get back to our Go Digital page. So notice a few of the things I just skipped over there. A couple things I want to highlight. Notice Schwab Safe right here. Schwab Safe is the link to how we keep your information safe. On top of that, all the different little things that you can do to protect yourself in an electronic environment. Okay, so notice you can go all sorts of on here, all the things that we do to protect. Okay, all the things that you can do. Security alerts, you name it. Sign up for voice ID, all sorts of information. Mark, can you talk to us a little bit about Schwab's security guarantee?
Yeah, it's something that not many people know about, but it's very simple. If your account ever has an unauthorized withdrawal, unauthorized transaction, we'll make it good, period. And the reason that we can do that is from all of the background security that Schwab runs, as well as the training that Schwab employees get. There literally is a group at Schwab, our fraud department, that has an eye out for whatever the latest scams might be. And they will enlighten us as Schwab employees, hey, watch out for this. So there's always people working on your behalf to ensure security.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's one of the greatest things that we offer. It provides lots of comfort. Notice I was highlighting it right there. And if you want to see more details on it, just click the details. We explain through it completely. Back to our page, below Schwab Safe, back to our Go Digital page. Just wanted to give a quick look at some of the things that you can do electronically. Okay, I want to add a travel notice. Hey, where you're going, so we know how to track you electronically if anything appears out of the ordinary. Maybe you set up debit card alerts for yourself. Maybe you unlock or lock your card electronically for the debit card. You can do all of that right here from the Go Digital page. Mark, anything else you want to make sure we highlight here?
The debit card, I think you covered that. Linking the Schwab, non-Schwab accounts. You can have your non-Schwab accounts linked in so that you can get a total picture of your entire financial assets. Makes it very easy to monitor everything that you own and progress ultimately towards your goals, which is we're going to talk about later, is the first of the Schwab investing principles. Have a financial plan and clearly defined goals.
Yeah, absolutely. So linking accounts, absolutely. So not only can you link accounts internally, you can link an account at Schwab to an outside financial account, so you can move money back and forth electronically. Very easy to do. So let's pause on that right there, and let's go into the Schwab website. So notice I have now logged into the Schwab website. I've actually logged into a dummy account that we have here. And where we went initially is under the Accounts tab. So under the Accounts tab, and notice when you move under one of our main tabs across the top of the screen, it opens up a picture of all the different sub-tabs and then the tertiary tabs that you can quickly link into. So we're going to start, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through today some of the more important, most used tabs on the Schwab website, what they are, the different functionality that you can access within those tabs, and why it's beneficial to you as a client. Okay, so we're going to start here with the account summary page. Okay, we're going to start right here with the account summary page. Mark, can you maybe walk us through what we're seeing here at the top of the screen?
Yeah, Robert, this is very simply a graphical view of all of the accounts you designate to include within this overview, looking at how those have grown or fallen as the market movements have happened. And right now you see the block that's highlighted just above where your mouse is, year to date. And we can actually go as far back as 2 years or get as granular as what's happened just in this 1 month. So that allows us to very closely keep watch on how our accounts are doing. But if you look at the gear setting down just below where your mouse is, this is where you can literally include or exclude specific accounts from this view. Very easy to combine things and look at exactly what you want. You can configure this to look at one specific account at a time, or you can combine them all, and I'd have to say that's what most people do, is combine them all to get a total view of their financial picture. Then along that line, of course, the newer development that we have is, rather than just the personal value, if you'll click on that drop-down menu, and let's look at investment income. This is a relatively new view. I think, what is it, a year old at most, Robert?
Yeah, I was going to say, probably creeping on a little bit over 12 months old now. Yeah, so.
But this will show the actual income that is projected to arrive from bonds held in your accounts as well as dividends. And you can see, I think most people look at the next 12 months, but you can also go back and see calendar year 2020 or what actually came in calendar year 2019. It's a completely different view of your assets, not just the total value, but what kind of income stream can you project going forward in the next 12 months? And where, if any, might you need to enhance that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the thing that I actually look at, the light green line that is moving across the screen, that's your average. So that's the average monthly investment income 2020. So notice you're, on average, you're pulling a little over $109 a month between dividends and interest into the account. I will point out in the upper right-hand corner, notice the little question mark. That's the area where if you have questions on what information you're seeing, look for those across all of Schwab. When you click on it, we give you more information as to what you're actually seeing there on the screen. Okay. Staying in the summary page, I know Mark pointed out the gear. That's where you can adjust your settings and everything. But below the top investment income or the value page, you can look at all your different accounts that you have here at Charles Schwab, the current balances, income. You can change, I'll go back to our personal value view. So you can look at your cash that you have in, change on the day, percent change. So you can look at all your different accounts. On top of this, I know in this dummy account, we don't have the ability in this dummy account, but you can add outside accounts. So if you have accounts outside of Schwab, you can add those into the view here also and include it in your personal value or your investment income view all on top of that at the top of the page. Okay, so then we start showing down all the different positions that you have. Notice this is your equities. So in the accounts, we have Microsoft. Notice there's a little number 2 next to Microsoft. That means you are holding it in 2 separate accounts. And if you click on the number 2, it'll tell you which accounts you are holding it in, the quantity and market value in each. Okay, so I can close down the equity, and then we break out your exchange traded funds and closed end funds, your mutual funds, any kind of fixed income or bonds that you have, any kind of other investments you have, and finally, cash. All of that is in a consolidated view for you right there on the summary page. Okay, so let's move away from the summary page. Let's move to the opposite end of the spectrum, and let's look down here at the very far subtab on the right-hand side, transfers and payments. Mark, you mentioned electronically moving money when we were looking at our Go Digital page. Could you maybe walk us through a little bit of the ways you can transfer or move money at Schwab and where we go through to see some of this information?
Absolutely, Robert. Before I get into that, we do best when you ask us questions. So I'd encourage everybody tuning in today, ask a question. There's a place where you can submit a question just below where you're watching us. And now back to transfers and payments. With the online transfers, you can move money between Schwab accounts literally now. You can also, if you decide that you want to transfer positions between accounts, that can be done. And same business day between internal accounts. And if you notice just down below that, 1 to 2 business days between external accounts. And yes, you can, in fact, set up your external bank or checking accounts to move money to and from. Very easy to do. For those who ultimately may need a wire, say for a real estate transaction, wires can be sent through the next level down. And same business day with domestic, 2 to 7 business days in international. We also have bill pay that you can set up, transfer an account from another firm, and if you want to go old school and request a paper check, that can be done down at the bottom. We actually do have a couple of questions. Thank you, folks. David in Oregon asked, how do you change the columns displayed on the summary page? Robert, I think we could go back to that. That's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
And Jeff
We'll
in
go back to
Tennessee,
this.
thanks for the comment. And while you're
So
doing
here,
that, I want to give a special welcome to our new clients who joined us from USAA. As a longtime USAA member myself, we welcome you, and thanks for joining us here at Schwab.
yeah, so here in the summary page, the settings do not allow us to alter the columns available, but I like that question from David because in the other pages that we're going to go through here under accounts, they are very customizable. Okay, so we talked about transfers and payments. Let's go to one of the pages here. Let's go to our positions page. So the positions page is where we can see what we actually have in our account specifically. And on this page, we give a couple different views. So we have one view here, and then you can turn the consolidated view. Come on, there we go. I turned on the consolidated view. So we give you a consolidated view. My personal preference, I actually like the consolidated view more. My eyes tend to like information jammed into a particular area. So notice on this page then, we give the ability, the little gear, the settings, and when you click on this, you can choose which information goes into the page on the positions page. So pretty much here, we're showing everything. The only thing we're not showing is margin requirement. I guess you can add that if you wish. So the positions page is an area where you can start changing what columns you are seeing on the data on the page. Mark, anything jump out to you on the positions page that you see clients bring up quite often?
There are actually two things. One, if you'll highlight dividend yield, it's almost in the center of the column down in the account that has positions. Many clients don't know that they can look at the dividend yield that they get on a specific security. And then the other one would be what percentage of the account that is. Now, in the individual account view here, we literally have the kitchen sink. There's virtually almost every piece of information you possibly could display. But in fact, actually, I don't see percentage of account. But if you go to the gear, we can add that. And then ultimately, we're, believe it or not, Robert, we're 20 minutes in. We're going to have to move along to cover some of the rest of this. There's the percentage of account. There it is. Too bad my eyeballs don't work.
There you
In fact,
go.
it's right next to dividend yield. Oh boy. So this will help to illustrate if you happen to have a concentrated position in one particular account, or I don't know about you, Robert, but quite often, like that Kraft Heinz position, 0.95%. That's what I'd call a rounding error. Now that
Right.
triple or go to zero and you'd never notice it.
Yeah, so quickly here, when you're looking at in the positions page, notice this little drop down at top. We were looking at all brokerage accounts together. You can choose just to look at an individual account if you so choose. Okay. So not only that, you can check out your balance. We'll just show this very high level very quickly. So if you want to look at balance information, such as the value of investments versus cash, if you do anything on margin, you can click on the balances page here, and you can look at it as a combined. So notice we're looking at everything combined together, or you can look at individual accounts on here. We're not going to go into this in detail here today, but just check on the balances page. That's where you can find the balance information on that. I wanted to touch on quickly portfolio performance. So in the middle of the page, I clicked on portfolio performance up here. This is where you can track the performance of all your accounts combined, or an individual account, or you can set up groups accounts together. So not only can you look at performance over specific time frames, so you can look at year to date, 1 year, you can look at individual accounts, you name it. You can then compare it to different benchmarks. So we were looking at account performance here. Notice down here, we can look at the portfolio level. So looking at all accounts combined. And we also give you that portfolio value. And we give you your net of investment number also. So notice a lot of the growth has been because of the value of the securities going up. And we give you different things to benchmark against.
And hopefully, Scott in Texas, that answers the question you had on portfolio performance.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to analyze here. Absolutely. So you can look at your, obviously I'll just point out a few of them. You can look at the risk versus the return that you're making in the account. So how much risk are you taking to get the return? And we allow you to then compare that against various standardized portfolios. Portfolio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We number them here, and then we tell you what's actually in the standardized index portfolios below. You can look at the performance of your different asset classes. You can look at sector performance, you name it, all sorts of things in there. Plus, on top of that, I will point out the Schwab Portfolio Checkup. Notice I clicked on that area so that you can set yourself up to get a monthly report to compare how you are doing and reanalyze your portfolio. Lots of things in there. You can select an allocation, so it can tell you how you're currently allocation versus a target that you set up for yourself. I will say this, when you start thinking about a target, you mentioned a great four-letter word earlier, Mark, that word plan. Please take advantage of all of our planning capability here at Schwab. that talk to either one of us in the branch as a financial consultant, an associate financial consultant, or give us a call on our 800 number telling us you would like help developing a plan around what you're trying to do with your finances. We will gladly help you in that aspect. That can at least give you an idea of maybe what your portfolio should be allocated to help you positively achieve what you're setting out to do, your goals. Let's move to the right of portfolio performance. Very quick, history. We give you 2 years worth of online history right here on the page, everything that is happening in an account. So that's 2 years worth of history. And next to the history area, we give the statements. So statements, copies of all those, all your tax forms, your trade confirmations, we give 10 years worth of that data in the statements tab on the Schwab website.
Hey, Robert,
Mark,
there's a
what
question.
what am I missing?
Hang on a sec. There in the portfolio checkup tool, Tom in New York asked, "What amounts are the percentage allocated to the sector's reporting?" And if I think the answer to that is on the sectors, that's versus the S&P weightings of the sectors, Standard and Poor being the market leader in sector and industry analysis. As far as the asset classes, that ultimately is determined by the asset class that you choose as a default portfolio. So yes, in this view, I covering Silicon Valley for years and Seattle area now. I've never seen a portfolio that looks like this. It's very heavily overweighted in technology. That's a new view.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, I'm
so yes,
being
you're
facetious.
exactly. So yes, you are correct, Mark. So here is the breakdown of the sector weightings within the S&P. So they look at the and then just comparing what your portfolio is relative to that. So lots of good questions so far.
Yeah,
I
keep them
know we
coming.
spend lots of time in the accounts area, but to me this is truly one of the important areas because there's lots to do in there mechanically. It gets us lots of information around that. So what we're going to do today, Mark, is why don't we just take one or two of the additional tabs and we'll go through some of those on there. Is there a particular one you want to look at next?
Well, I think we ought to definitely look at the trade tab briefly. I think we went into that a lot greater depth last week. So from the trade menu, you can literally see all of the different types of things you can trade, from stocks, ETFs, options, traditional mutual funds, bonds and CDs, even futures. Now, last week we talked a little bit about the new Schwab stock slices. I don't want to cover that today other than it's a new innovation from Schwab. But one thing we ought to cover is setting up a watch list because many people will call into the 800 number literally almost every day just to get prices on the same securities over and over. So you can literally create a watch list within the trade tool to help you keep tracking. These are real-time prices as of the second that you refresh that screen. So if you wanted to add in, we always add Lily when I'm on the phone with you, Robert.
Sure, we can add EY Lilly today. Good Indianapolis company, yeah. We can add let's add Boeing. We'll add some Seattle-based companies. Boeing, how about Nordstrom, Costco?
Yeah. And then of course
Costco,
Starbucks, but that's okay.
Starbucks.
Anyway, it makes it very easy. And now when you click save, you have a new watch list. So I think last week we covered a lot of things in the trade tab. So in this week, let's move on to research because I don't think we did too much with research last week.
Yeah. So yeah, the one thing that just build on this because it is defaulted to the quotes area where you can see bid, ask, last price, volume. there are different views. So notice if you want a price performance view to notice, oh, how has the price of Costco changed over the year? How has Apple changed over the year? Performance relative to the S&P 500. So notice you can check all that information in there. I promise you it'll work for you. Obviously, being in a dummy account, sometimes some of the stuff
Yeah.
does not work. But notice if you want company performance information, look at your revenue growth, your earnings growth, all that information is available right in there. So there are different views available to you. Okay.
Robert, thanks for covering that because I got to tell you, I didn't know that that existed in the trade tab.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Learn
all
something
good
new every
stuff.
day.
It's
All
it's
right.
amazing. It's amazing. I know both you and I have been at Schwab a long time, and it's amazing all the things that we discovered. Heck, I've been here almost 20 years. Mark, how many years have you been here? 20? No,
It'll be 16 in September. So I'm almost
you
16.
you 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 got it's interesting that a 16-year-old is a newbie, right?
Yes, I am. Yep, that's
Oh,
true.
all right.
As you
All
can tell,
right.
we love to
So
have fun.
exactly. So we talked about trade a little bit. Let's talk about research. So under research, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on the tab and notice we see all sorts of sub tabs. When you just click on the research tab, you're defaulted to an area called markets. And in the markets area, you get lots of information on what's happening. So the top headlines out there, we give you views of the different indices available, not only in the US, but across Europe, Asia Pacific. Some big headlines going on out there. Top mentions in the marketplace. So in news stories, which stocks are getting the top mentions today? Obviously, Apple, Amazon, Occidental Petroleum, Nike, GE. So you can see if there's something happening. We give you market commentary from outside people, Morningstar, Credit Suisse, Ned Davis, Argus, you name it. But one thing I want to point out here is on this page, the default is the US markets. If we look down to the right-hand side, there's an area called Market Insight. This is where we publish our opinions on what is occurring out in the marketplace. I often get asked that question, hey, well, what does Schwab think? What does Schwab think about this? Well, Market Insight is where you go to get that information. Okay, I'll point out a couple of them here. In the markets and economy area, this is where the information from Liz Ann Saunders, our chief domestic analyst, Jeff Kleintop, our chief international analyst, this is where you find their information. Okay, the most recent published information is the default article right here. So it is actually our mid-year outlook that just came out on the 19th, which
That's today,
is,
Robert.
you got it today. You got it today. So you can look at our most recent information here, but if you click on the See All Markets and Economy hyperlink right at the bottom of that, notice I clicked on it. We will give you a chronological report of everything that we have published. You can quickly scroll through, see what Liz Ann Saunders was saying back in December of 09, our 2020 market outlook. Okay, you can go read that information if you want to read anything in the past. Mark,
And that
anything
sometimes is
you,
very helpful to do is to, hey, what did we see back when? One thing I'd add to that, because I know that's where you were going, the once a week we have sector rating updates on all of the 11 sectors according to S&P.
yes, yes. So I will make a side comment here. June 30th, so right before, the week before 4th of July, tune into Schwab Live Daily as we're going to have a full day of all of those Schwab experts. Liz Ann Saunders, Jeff Kleintop, Kathy Jones, our chief fixed income analyst, Randy Frederick, all of them will be on Schwab Live Daily throughout the day giving live commentary. So it's a special day, June 30th. Put that on your calendars. as a special day on Schwab Live daily of all sorts of information coming from Schwab experts throughout the day. That's a Tuesday. All right, under research, additional things. So you can research virtually any type of financial product out there, from a stock to an option, a mutual fund, an exchange traded product such as an ETF or a bond. I'll quickly click on research of stocks. Okay, so if you do want to research a stock, click on research in stocks. We give you lots of overview here. So lots of ideas. Okay, and then on top of that, if you do want to look at an individual security, right at the top of the page, you can type in an individual security. I'll type in a company we probably have all heard of, Apple. Notice I clicked on it, and this will pull up all sorts of information specifically geared towards Apple. So we give you a summary page, give you a brief chart, all sorts of information, news, all sorts of consolidated ratings from different analysts that we buy for you. Okay, the key in all of these is make sure you understand the perspective that each of these are using to come up with their rating. They are not all looking at the company from the same perspective. I'll give you an example. Market Edge down here at the bottom purely looks at the chart of the company to come up with their opinion, whereas Morningstar is very valuation driven. So looking at different valuation metrics to see if the company is overvalued or undervalued relative to their fair valued market estimate. So one very fundamentally focused, the other one very technical focused. Notice they can be different at many different times, but understand the perspective that each of these are using or the lens they're using to evaluate the company. Okay, Mark, any last commentary about research in general here at Charles Schwab?
Oh, we could actually do an entire workshop just on research. Our focus today has really been more on the accounts tab. Let me get to a couple of questions here. Is there a specific number to call at Schwab for trading support? Yeah, our regular 800 number, 800-435-4000. And someone is available to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And he specifically asked, this is Dave in Iowa, by the way, he's learned how to buy shares, but he's researched and wants to place a stop order at the same time. And then in the Learning Center, which you obviously found to get to Schwab Live Daily, there's a lot of information about the order types. And then one other thing at the top, which we haven't mentioned yet, the keyword search. If you wanted to type in stop orders and do a search on it, this will take any place that, there it is, mastering the order types right there. That actually is contained within the Learning Center. Okay, within the research.
So hopefully Dave, hopefully this answers both of Dave's questions there. So not only can it teach you all about what a stop order is, why you might want to use them, what are the risks, how to actually do it, but it also highlights the keyword search in the upper right-hand corner of the page. So lots of good information there, lots of ways to go about it. All right, Mark, tell me what
let's move on to the products tab.
Yeah.
And then we'll wrap up with a brief look at service. So all of the different products, I mean, the breadth of products that are available to invest in here at Schwab is literally soup to nuts, A to Z.
Absolutely. So in here, lots of different products that we have, obviously stocks, ETFs. I like to say if there's a financial product out there, you can usually purchase or sell it through Charles Schwab, so lots of possibility out there. On top of that, in the products area, we go into, all the different types of accounts you can have, whether it be taxable accounts such as individual accounts, joint accounts, trust accounts, organizational accounts, to retirement accounts, individual retirement accounts, employee type retirement accounts, you name it, it is potentially available here at Schwab. Finally, below that, We do offer a lot of different types of styles of investment management. We do know a lot of our clients, they like doing things themselves, but they're at times they are looking to free up time and turn over expertise to somebody else. So we give you a quick brief look at some of the ways that you can take some of the work off of your table, find an expert to help them manage your account for you, or potentially a portion of an account for you. Mark, out of these different styles of investment management that we offer, professional investment management for our clients, are there any that jump out to you that you get asked more about than others?
I would say it's not so much that I get asked more about. We'll talk about one of the probably our most recent innovation in that managed account arena. Schwab Intelligent Portfolios, or our so-called robo-advisor, but actually the one just beneath that, Schwab Intelligent Portfolios Premium. What this does is it is a subscription model to comprehensive financial planning delivered by a certified financial planner professional. Now, many firms offer this type of a service, but it has always been based on a percentage of assets. Whereas here, the financial plan drives the investment allocation that the intelligent portfolios can then execute on your behalf. But the planning part of it and the subscription part of it, there's a $300 fee for the initial plan, which is quite inexpensive relative to what's out there, and then $30 a month on top of that, regardless of how much you have available. So this is perhaps the greatest innovation in that managed accounts arena. But Robert, we also have our best kept secret here at Schwab. What might that be?
Absolutely. It is our bank, and I think a lot of people are shocked to know that Schwab has a bank. The bank is purely geared for our clients. It is a bank for investors. So what that means is we offer checking accounts, savings accounts, and I know our checking account has, been very, rated the top checking account in the U.S. for many years straight. So checking account, savings account, if you need a mortgage, you need a line of credit, you want to establish a pledged asset line against the assets in your account. I think a lot of those are very relevant based on what has happened in our marketplace over the last 4 months. I think a lot of people have been concerned about liquidity. Hey, if I do need money, how am I going to do it? And usually the time to start thinking about it is when you don't need it. And explore with us. Give us a call or talk to our local branches about what might a mortgage look for you, maybe to refinance at low rates. It's one, the advantage of low rates is if you're borrowing money, you can refinance. Maybe it's how you set up a line of credit or a pledged asset line in case you do ever need to tap liquidity.
And along those lines, Robert, what we're really talking about here is the liability side of our personal balance sheet, as well as what's our traditional focus been, the asset side. So we really need to focus on both. Is there a smarter way to borrow? Is there a lower cost way to borrow?
Yeah. Yeah, I think about the borrowing really from this, Mark, is that, the last thing you want to have to do is, if markets are in an adverse position, have to potentially sell things because you need cash. What can you do as an alternative? And getting your finances in order where you can have that planned out, that if you do need cash, do you have to sell something? Well, maybe not. You can buy yourself some time by taking advantage of some of these other offerings. All right. All right. Last little area we're just going to touch briefly on service. The service tab is where you can go access a lot of the mechanical things around your accounts, such as updating your contact information, potentially your password, all of that information available out there. This is all dummy account information, but take a look under the service. This is where you can set up alerts on your account, where you also have the debit card and check information that if you need to order those, reorder those, you can do so. You can turn on paperless delivery of lots of different things, set up all your different alert settings and account settings within here. So the service tab is where you handle a lot of the mechanical functions of your account.
And Robert, along those lines, earlier, Rohan in Tennessee asked a question if we could go over screeners and alerts. I apologize, we didn't have enough time to talk about screeners, but if you click on that alerts tab really quick, because I know we're almost out of time. And you can get portfolio alerts here, securities alerts is the gist of Rohan's question. And again, we don't have enough time to go into great depth on this, but you can have securities alerts when a price level is reached, a percentage change of a certain amount, or you can, if you click on the earnings alert down below, it will, you can choose when an upgrade is made to a Schwab equity ratings report, issues an earnings announcement. That in particular is, I think, what Rohan was looking for. So again, there's a lot of things we could cover in here. We could probably literally do a 1-hour workshop just on each one of our primary tabs. So I want to thank everybody for all the great questions.
Absolutely, Mark. Mark, thank you today for being on here. Thank you, everybody, for all your questions. I think the biggest thing I'll leave you with is this. There are some tremendous amount of information available in the Schwab website. A big part of it is going in there and just exploring around, clicking on the different areas, reading information. And then obviously, as you have questions, you can contact us up top by giving us a call, sending us an email, sending us an instant message, lots of different ways to contact us. We are all here to help try to make you successful because your success is our success as a firm. So join us next. Coming up next is Finding Covered Calls in Today's Market with Nina Milovac, our seniors derivative trading strategist here at Schwab, followed up later in the day with Craig Porozinski discussing risk management. So lots of content still coming up later today on Schwab Live Daily. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your Friday.
The Relative Strength Index, or RSI, is a technical indicator measuring the strength and momentum behind a stock's recent price moves. It can give you a sense of when a stock might have become over or undervalued and possibly ripe for a reversal. RSI measures how much a stock has gained on its up days relative to how much it's lost on its down days over a default of 14 trading periods. On a price chart, a stock's RSI is plotted as a single line, oscillating within a fixed range between 0 and 100. Generally, when a stock has an RSI reading above 70, it's considered to be overbought and perhaps due for a retreat from recent highs. On the other hand, a reading below 30 suggests the stock may be oversold and could be ready to move higher. As you can see in this example, when the RSI moves near 70, the price tends to weaken afterward. And when the RSI comes down near 30, the price tends to rally. Now, it's important to note that these 70 and 30 readings work best when a stock is neutral, as shown here. However, when a stock is in an uptrend or a downtrend, these levels might not be as reliable because of the buying or selling driving this current trend. In a strong uptrend, for example, a stock's RSI might stay above 70 for longer than it would in neutral conditions, as traders' enthusiasm for the stock drives its price higher. When this happens, a drop from above 70 to below 70 could indicate that the stock is taking a breather on its long push higher. Conversely, when looking at oversold conditions within a strong uptrend, the RSI is unlikely to fall to this classically oversold level of 30. Notice how in this chart, temporary dips below the 50 line are followed by a continuation of the overall uptrend in price. traders may want to allow the RSI to recapture its 50 line before joining the uptrend. As you might expect, this can also work for downtrends, when a stock's RSI might spend more time below 30 than it would in neutral conditions. In this case, you could use temporary peaks above the 50 line as a signal that the stock is taking a breather from its downtrend. Dropping back below its 50 level could indicate the downtrend is set to continue. Another way to use RSI is to look for divergences from price moves, indicating possible weakness in the current trend. It may also signal an impending reversal of the existing trend. Here we see that the RSI dips as the stock hits a low. Notice how this first dip in the RSI is much lower than the second one, despite the stock's price actually hitting a lower low. A technical trader might look at this lower low in the stock price and see a continuation of the downtrend. However, the divergence between the sharply falling stock price and the modest dip in the RSI could signal that the downtrend is weakened and higher prices may be in the offing. The RSI can be a helpful technical indicator, but it's important to understand its movements in all conditions. To learn more about technical analysis and its practical uses, watch more videos in this series and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You know that tech stock we talked about? I picked up 500 shares.
You get in at a good price?
Oh, yeah.
Schwab saved you how much?
It's time to trade up to Schwab, where you get price improvement on 96% of orders and commission-free online trades.
I'll take care of this.
Are you getting complete price transparency? Expect more from your firm. Schwab, the better place for traders.
You know that tech stock we talked about? I picked up 500 shares.
You get in at a good price?
Oh, yeah.
Schwab saved you how much?
It's time to trade up to Schwab, where you get price improvement on 96% of orders. Schwab, the better place for traders.
Hello, and welcome to the Quick Start video for the all-in-one trade tool available in Schwab's Street Smart Edge platform. The all-in-one trade tool is the most dynamic, advanced trading tool in the Street Smart family of software, offering unprecedented flexibility, particularly around option trading workflow. Open the all-in-one trade tool by going to Launch Tools and selecting the all-in-one trade tool. Like most tools in Street Smart Edge, the all-in-one trade tool has a tabbed interface where you can customize the contents of each tab, making it easier to trade your favorite strategies. Depending on the strategy you select, the trade ticket automatically updates along with the relevant quotes data or option chains. If you often trade, for instance, vertical call spreads, you can create a vertical call spread tab rather than having to set the options tab up for the vertical call spreads each time. If you're an equities-only trader, the default stock ETF tab will be your place to be. It includes NBBO, market depth, and time and sales data. If you want to add a leg, you can quickly turn a stock or option order into a multi-leg order using the Add a Leg button, or remove a leg by clicking the minus button for the leg you wish to remove. As a benefit, when you make changes to the first leg of the strategy, the other legs will be updated to stay within that strategy. The all-in-one trade tool is loaded with data to help you with decisions. Let's start at the top with the title bar and level 1 data. The title bar will display the last trade price, change direction, and change from the previous close, as well as the full name of the company or index and exchange. Right below the title bar is the level 1 data, as well as the order status and position indicators, which show whether our account has open orders or positions in the selected symbol. Customize your Level 1 data by clicking on the gear icon. In addition to the standards, bid, ask, high, low, open, close, and volume, you can also select data such as 52-week high or low, put-call ratios, and implied volatility rank and percentile, and many more. Other data available in the All-in-One Trade tool includes the Trade and Probability Calculator and Top Movers. The Trade and Probability Calculator shows a visual representation of the risk-reward of an options strategy to help you quickly assess option trade risk based on the price of the underlying on certain dates, using the Black-Scholes option pricing model. It also plots the theoretical probability of the underlying symbol at any point in time up to the expiration date. The top movers will display the top volume, top gainers, and top decliners for a single underlying symbol. This concludes this quick start guide for the all-in-one trade tool for Street Smart Edge. Please check out the Learning Center and the online help manual, both of which are located under the Help menu. Additionally, you can visit the calendar on schwab.com/live for a schedule of upcoming live platform videos. Thank you for choosing Charles Schwab, and have a great day.
You could think getting commission-free trades is as good as it gets, but you know better. At Schwab, free means more. You get commission-free online trades, plus quality trade executions on our powerful platform. All from the only firm that offers a satisfaction guarantee. Expect more from your firm. Trade up to Schwab, the better place for traders.
Hi, this is Jeff Kleintop with 90 seconds on what we're watching that could move the markets this week. It's been an impressive run for stocks, but last Thursday they took a breather with a 6% drop, taking stocks back to where they were about 2 weeks ago. Now, the sell-off took place after markets became more vulnerable by pricing in a V-shaped economic recovery in recent weeks, evidenced in the strong gains that were accompanied by a rotation to economically sensitive stocks and the rise in bond yields. Now, triggers for the sell-off seem to be the risk to the economic recovery posed by a second virus wave and the outlook for a slow labor market recovery from the Fed, which was reinforced by Thursday morning's weekly number of new filings for unemployment benefits, which remain well over 1 million. This week, Fed Chair Powell testifies before the Senate on Tuesday and the House on Wednesday and could echo his gloomy tone from last week. Also, a stubbornly high jobless number this week could also be disappointing if it suggests the labor market rebound in May is now losing steam. However, much of the data this week probably continue to point to a solid recovery. Now, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of England, and the Swiss National Bank set monetary policy this week. Also, European leaders may meet to discuss a 750 billion euro recovery fund proposed by the European Commission. And the market may welcome more stimulus. Already, the total global stimulus is equivalent to a jaw-dropping 28% of world GDP. Thanks for watching.
So Schwab taught me about four-legged option strategies. I'm gonna go with an iron butterfly spread on that fintech stock.
Nice. I just tried an iron condor.
Oh, only spread I've been introduced to is this onion chive.
It's time to trade up to Schwab, the firm invested in helping you become a better trader. Get commission-free online stock, ETF, and options trades. Expect more from your firm. Schwab, the better place for traders.
thanks. Bounced a trade idea off my firm. They don't get it.
Schwab shows you indicators, proprietary research, helps you see the full picture.
Speaking of...
Trade up to Schwab. The gut check you want, the intel you need. You could think getting commission-free trades is as good as it gets, but you know better. At Schwab, you get commission-free trades and quality trade executions from the only firm that offers a satisfaction guarantee. Schwab, the better place for traders.
Live from Schwab Studios, this is Schwab Live Daily.
Welcome back to Schwab Live Daily. I'm Nina Milovatz, and this is Finding Covered Calls in today's market. Now, during today's session, if you have any questions or comments, and I'm also going to be asking for audience participation in selecting some underlying stock symbols. So if you have any questions, responses, just type them directly below this live streaming video in that chat area. I'll do my best to incorporate your suggestions into today's live session. So today we'll be focusing on covered calls. That means we'll be taking a look at options. Options definitely carry a high level of risk, and they're not suitable for all investors. Before you open an options account, please carefully read through the options disclosure document. A link to that document is available at the bottom of this web page. So please scroll to the very bottom, click on that link, and save it for future reference. All right, now any stock symbols that we look at, any covered calls that we take a look at together, they're being shown just for demonstration purposes only. So this is not intended to portray any type of recommendation to buy or sell any particular security or to put on a strategy. It's just so that you get more comfortable with these different options terms and get more familiar with these different tools. We have all these options tools, and they're available to our customers for free. So if you have any questions about how to use them, please don't be shy. All right, what we're going to do is actually go live. We're going to take a look at, and this is a question that we actually get from time to time. What if I have a stock in my account that I like, I'm bullish, but I really have it in my account purely for the dividend. I mean, that's the main. I would like the stock to appreciate, yes, of course, but I'm looking for income. So I have this dividend paying stock already. Well, if I do want to create a covered call, then, what additional things should I consider? And how can the covered call actually help overall potentially boost the income that I'm getting purely from that underlying? So that's what we're going to take a look at today. We're going to look at stocks that are also known as dividend aristocrats. And we'll talk about what stocks those are. Those are a group of stocks in the S&P 500 that have actually raised their dividend for a long period of time, for at least 25 years, and they have a minimum market capitalization as well of $3 billion. So we're going to look at that list, and if there are any stocks that pop out, we could look to see if you created a covered call right now, what it would look like. And then I'm going to turn the tables. I'm going to ask you for, do you have any stocks in your portfolio that you already own? And you would now like to create a covered call. Maybe it's gone up in value. Maybe it's sat around at about the same price as your original entry. If you'd like to generate some income, you can sell the call against that position if you would like to potentially exit on the up.